How are people making so much money? I am 24 years old female. I'm seeing posts of people my age making 100K plus or more with hundreds of thousands already saved up, and I am struggling so hard not to compare. I work in community health and I've accepted that I have to switch to health tech to make that much money. How do you make so much money? When I was 24, I was making less than 50K. I didn't hit 100K until my mid-30s. Accumulated experience and education, which makes me worth more as an employee, and changing jobs a few times helped too. People who are lucky enough to make 100K straight out of college are more likely to brag about it on social media. The ones struggling under tens of thousands in student debt, who are probably more representative of people in your age range, are more reluctant to show it off. It's only been the past 6 months I've been making enough to really save. More than double my salary and got a role making 143K. Honestly, part of it was luck. They emailed me and I was shocked when I heard the salary. I got into tech about 2 years ago. Before that, I had never even logged on to LinkedIn. But I was able to find a job at a software company that served clients in a field I had experience in. Even still, I've saved what I could the past several months, and I'm about to spend pretty much all my savings buying some land and a tiny house so I can get out of apartment living and use my currently high salary to pay down the mortgage as fast as possible. It's the cheapest option in this area. I'm 27, and like I said, I've only had this job for a few months. When I was 24, I was making like 40K and barely saving anything. I'm a high school dropout, and to be honest, didn't think I could aim higher than being a retail store manager. Hey, just wanted to let you know that you can make decent money working in social services. It's in macro work like administration, policy analysis, and program evaluation. My title is currently Director of Child and Youth Protection. I work for a nonprofit, 32 hours per week at 90K/year. I'm about to get a fairly large raise as well. Before this, I was making 75K doing grant management for my local housing authority. I'm 31. I'm not making huge tech dollars, but I'm still relatively early in my career and can work up to a chief operating officer or executive director position. The right one can pay 200K plus. Social services doesn't have to mean you'll be poor. I guess what I'm saying is, if you're only switching fields because of money, you may not have to. If you want out because social services is draining, then definitely take care of yourself and get out. I'm 29 and just got my first $100,000 job after my starting salary was $55,000 in 2017 with a civil engineering degree. My first company was amazing and a COL was skyrocketing in Seattle. They gave generous salary increases. I started at $55,000 and I think I was $68K-ish 3 years later when I moved. I moved to a lower COL area in Oregon and took a pay cut to $65,000. Changed jobs and was earning about $75,000 per year. Then just recently we moved back to the Bay Area to be near family, and as everyone knows, the COL is stupid. My starting salary is just over $106,000, but with rent and everything, our life hasn't really changed since moving from Oregon when I was making $75,000, so that's something to consider. I am in STEM, so my earning potential may be higher. My husband didn't have a STEM degree and has been with the same company for 5 years now and is full remote, which is cool. I think he started around $50,000 in 2019 and now is making about $68,000 after some promotions and such. His company isn't based out of the Bay Area in what I would consider more of a normal company that's not well known for big pay increases. We both question how the company spends its money when they don't have enough for bigger raises, but then make questionable C-suite choices. But he's staying with it for now because of their paid family leave policy, as we have a baby on the way. College job, elementary school teacher, then worked at a nonprofit for 10 years, and was earning just shy of $90,000 when I left. Then I left that to take an $18 per hour and early hire making $80,000, which turned into a $70,000 per year job $125,000 birthday. I switched jobs again at 29 and started making $115,000 per year through saving and smart choices. Now I'm 33. I've managed to pull together $1,000 per year, and I'm on track to live a comfortable life. I had no significant savings until I was about 29 and started making six figures. Because I haven't compared my salary to others. I think things have changed a lot in the 10 years that was healthier for me than always because I could pay rent comfortably on 44K/year back then. Now I'm happy that I live a comfortable life. The only way I've made more money is to change jobs and negotiate well for my salary. Here is my hot take. 35 years old, $250K a year with equity in my startup. Make sure you are in an industry that pays well and in a job function that is high paying. Tech isn't the only field that has high incomes. Be willing to increase responsibilities over time. So many people are comfortable and stay where they are, or move laterally forever. If your goal is to increase your income, every 3 years you should be getting promoted/taking on more responsibility. Sometimes you will need to move laterally for more well-rounded experience. But in 10 years you should go from someone who is JR to someone who is senior in their industry. You do this by consistently growing your responsibility/territory size. Switching companies is generally where the huge swings in compensation come from, and the big improvement in titles. However, I personally think you have to find balance with this strategy. For a strong resume, this must be balanced with some longer-term stints with one company, where you get promoted. So yes, absolutely switch companies, but also stay at companies long enough to get promoted internally too. As a hiring manager, I look for this on resumes. Interviewing is a skill. Resumes and networking are critical to your success in finding and getting high-paying jobs. Pay someone to design your resume. Interview frequently, work on your elevator pitch, your personal brand. Learn to nail all types of interviews, which really means learn how to sell yourself. As your experience grows and you learn what you like/don't like, get very specific on what you are looking for out of your career, then get laser focused on making it happen. Do not settle. Be ambitious. Last, invest all your hard-earned monies into VTSAX and chill. By working during college to pay my way instead of taking out loans. Then going into a trade rather than accepting jobs that only paid $20,000 or $30,000. Couple that with budgeting to not waste money and living a minimalist lifestyle while having the all-encompassing goal of remaining debt-free allows me to route a large portion of my income into my investment accounts. It's not difficult, provided you're willing to make sacrifices and work hard now in order to set yourself up for financial independence later. It comes down to the choices you make. You will make more as you progress in your career. Get a good mentor, learn as much as you can in the job. Get promotions and jump companies every 3 to 4 years to get paid market rate as opposed to staying in one company for 10 years. Unless you are able to get promotions and move up within same company. The other option is to do side hustle and make more dollars. The world is your oyster. You can make whatever you want happen if you are dedicated and strategic. Spent most of my 20s making minimum wage or slightly above. I don't think I was even earning $24K when I was 29. Didn't get my bachelor's until late 20s as well because I dropped out when I was younger. Pivoted into tech in my 30s and worked my way up from retail jobs. Finally hit 100K plus when I was 35. Still don't have tons of money in my 401K compared to others, but I was finally able to buy a home, get my master's degree, and pay off a ton of debt. Now I'm traveling all over and living a life I only dreamed about in my 20s. Plenty of these people get handed high-paying jobs due to family connections. Nothing like picking good parents for a head start in life. But if income is a priority for you, it's soon not too late. I had a bit of a wake-up around age 25 when I realized my career wasn't ever going to get me the lifestyle I wanted. I did some assessment of my strengths and weaknesses as they relate to career possibilities, wrote the LSAT, and went to law school. I was 30 by the time I became a lawyer, and then it took me a few years to clear the student loans. But I am now turning 45 and I could retire anytime I want. Instead, I took a lower paid but interesting and flexible job with a non-profit. I love my life and I'm proud that I did it on my own without inheritances or family connections. Go where the money is, cultivate high-value skills, and keep perspective. Most at 24 don't make 100K plus. Just for a perspective, 100K income at 24 is top 1% percentile globally, top 4% in the US, and top 20% across American workers. Comparison steals productivity. People have different launching pads and outcome bell curves. Often we don't know the full story. Someone who checks the box for all of these has a different outcome bell curve than someone who checks some or none. First world country, safe childhood environment, not a marginalized minority in your country, ideal height, attractive, athletic, male, high IQ, high EQ parents, financially literate family, paid education, down payments/housing from family, decamillionaire plus parents, 6+ figure gifts/trust fund, etc. I work in tech, but I did not make 6 figures until my mid-20s, when I switched to tech and then quickly increased my salary. That said, I graduated college early and have 4 to 5 years of solid experience by then. I made 35-50K for the first 3 to 4 years after graduation, and it took 6 or so years to hit 6 figures. And I still did not have hundreds of thousands of dollars in my 20s. I am 37 now with a 7-figure net worth and have had a high-paying career for the last 10 to 12 years. My plan is to front-load my investments, then switch careers to something that pays less but is more rewarding. Having a good salary, stock grants, ESPPs, and bonuses obviously helps tremendously, but I've also been consistently investing for over a decade, and time in the market is your best friend. The money will grow. I got no help from parents, so I know how it feels to see everyone around you get a head start. This is part of the reason I prioritized a higher salary. I didn't make over 100K year till I was 35. If you make 100K at 24 in the US, you are in the top 4% of earners for your age group. Median income is around 33K. You have to consider that the user base of Reddit skews high income to begin with, and the people who are willing to discuss their income on Reddit are likely to skew even higher. And remember that comparison is the thief of joy. Industry and geography play a huge role. Yes, nepotism exists. Yes, maybe some are lying, but if you care about maximizing income, I would plan your career around that. Don't bother comparing against others. Decide what's important for you. Don't let people tell you $100,000 is abnormal. Again, it depends on industry and location. Plenty of Fortune 100 companies are paying new hires TC of $100,000. I realized that financial stability/independence were important to me and made career changes to get me there. I was getting paid hourly out of college working for a super small company. I realized I needed a different path and got my MBA and got into management consulting at 27/28. Went from making $88,000 to $150,000. I used to think $100,000 was the goal. Now I'm mid-30s, in a non-tech corporate role and will make a bit over $400 this year. Consulting was brutal, but if you care about FI, I would pick a role where you can accelerate your earnings while young because I don't think I could do 80-hour work weeks again. Completely a personal choice, and if you're passionate about healthcare, don't let others influence you. For me, I decided financial instability brings its own stress and I'd rather front-load savings and earnings early on. 24 is super young, you've got so much ahead of you and are already ahead of so many people. If you are in the US or Canada and want that kind of money without university education and massive debt, there's the oilfield option. I went from 50K to 150K. All my friends thought I was mental because of the extreme cold and danger. I did it for a few years, and it was great. You get trained on the job and get amazing money. Lots of downsides, to many dimension, but mainly the cold. But if you can keep the money the tax man doesn't take, and not blow it on hookers and blow like a lot of the rig picks, you will definitely get ahead in life for a small sacrifice. When everyone is going to uni, carrying the same debts, the big city employers hold all the cards. They know you're desperate and will accept low-ball offers. So figure out a workaround. I'm 28 and just now in a place to start thinking about this method financially, and I'm definitely going an alternate route and am not making six figures yet. I started working from home since 2020 and I've been leveraging all my experience from one job to the next. Net yearly is projected to be $50,200, which I get isn't a lot, but my cost of living is incredibly low. Like of the $4,200/MO coming in, my comfy survival expenses top out at $1,100 per MO, child-free. Partner owns the house plus pays mortgage, so I contribute to utilities. I've got my ACCTS set up to dump as much excess as possible into my HYSA and IRA respectively, with a teeny bit budgeted for fun spending. I didn't think I'd be anywhere close to this just 5 years ago, so I'm looking forward to the future and what opportunities and challenges lie ahead. Having the goal in mind and practicing the habits of saving, living on less for now, etc. definitely help. I'll probably be in an even better spot by 30, and that's so cool. Most people that young, early to mid-20s, have not been working long enough to save hundreds of thousands on their own. A lot of them inherit money from parents, uncles, or grandparents. It helps also if your family paid for your education, and if you can live at home during or after college to keep your expenses very low. Many people earning a lot in their 20s are in tech, where they can get a high-earning job with just a bachelor's degree. Law and medicine have a higher ceiling on what you can earn, but more education is required. That means they don't get started saving as quickly, and may have to pay off more debt before they can start building wealth, so you don't see the big numbers until later. High-earning tech nerds are often attracted to FIRE because they earn enough to save a lot without cutting their spending to the point of suffering, and are attracted to the idea of optimizing their lives. On top of that, they tend to be online a lot, so that group is very overrepresented in this community compared to the general population. Thanks for watching and being on the road to Reddit Millionaire with us. So, do you agree with the comments? Do you think that getting to 100K a year is hard? Let us know. Until next one.